is always revenue minus total costs. Remember, minus to all terms. So then the profit function is 9x minus 2x squared minus x cubed minus 3x squared minus 4x and minus 1. So the profit function now in correct order, negative x cubed plus x squared plus 5x and minus 1. Negative x cubed, these two, plus x squared, these two, plus 5x and minus 1. How do we proceed to find? We have the function now. How do we proceed to find the maximum or minimum of such a function?
Factor first?
No. Remember, whenever we talk about max min, what is our first step? Find
the derivative.
The derivative, yes. The derivative is the key. You can say domain, true, but obviously we're talking about the number of units, so the domain will be 0 to infinity, although it's a polynomial function that is defined everywhere, but we cannot have negative 5 units. So p prime, negative 3x squared plus 2x plus 5. Awesome. So I start my table immediately. So p prime, and of course p of x. Of course I cannot have infinity, I cannot have 0, of course, and so on and so forth. But I would have to solve this equation, p prime of x equals 0. It's quadratic. Remember, we don't have to. You are in calculus. I trust you. Solving a polynomial equation can be done quickly. If you want to use the quadratic formula, please do so. If not, just quickly use the apps. Go to 9. Go to polynomial root finder. Careful, this is degree 2. Order or degrees, the same thing. Make sure you enter correctly the coefficients. Negative 3. Then positive 2. And then 5. And then solve. So x1 is negative 1. It doesn't fit. I will not even put in the graph in the table. The other one is 1.667. So now, are they telling us, let's go back for a second. Are they telling us number of units and sold? Assume that revenue, okay. And X is number of units, okay. So they're not telling us, but for 29, however, assume that R of X and C of X are in thousands of dollars and X is in thousands of units, because I can't produce 1.67, right? Good. So coming back to, sorry about that. So coming back to our numbers, where is my calculator? Here it is. So negative 1 is out of question, of course. So this will be 1,667. So 1667. But this is in thousands, right? So 1.667 thousand. Okay. So now, because they are specifically telling us, again, that for 29, that's what we chose, X is in thousands of units. So 1.667 will be thousands. Okay, perfect. So coming back, I will put my 0 as always. And I will plug in the function. This is the function. I will plug in 0, and this is negative 1. I will plug in the function and plug in, sorry, I will plug in 1.667 and get this value. Of course, I have to study the sign. Very easy. When I plug in 0, this is positive. And if I plug in 10, this will be negative 300, and this is too small. So I study the sign of the derivative. So I know that this must be the situation, but I also need to present what is the maximum for 1,667. For 1.667 thousand. Okay, so I go back to share my screen and I'll put the function in. And what is the function? The original P of X. Okay, so I have negative x to the third. I have positive x squared. And I have positive 5x. And then minus 1. And I plug it in. 1.667. That's all I want. 1.667. And I get 5,000, because it's still in thousands, right? The profit. 5.481. 5.481 thousands. And this is the absolute max. Any questions? Is this clear? So here I plugged in 0 and I got positive 5. And here when I plug in 10, it will be negative. So if we want the profit to be maximum, we have to manufacture and sell exactly this number. Not to the left, because the profit will be lower. Not to the right, because the profit will be lower. If you want to convince yourself of that, you can, anytime. So if I plug in, for example, which you already did. So let's say I plug in 2,000. You will see the profit will be lower than this. If I plug in a number to the left of 1.667, like 1,000, still will be smaller than 5.4815. So we'll tell our boss, do not ever deviate from this if this is your profit function. If the profit function changes, the results will change. But if you only produce this and sell this, you will maximize your profit. If you produce less, you will not. If you produce more, you will not, because that's the absolute maximum.